Hi, everybody. This is going to be a resource, an example of one of our role plays. So, my name is Vicky Hannah. I'm going to be playing the role of Michelle Donahue, who works at First Access, and the unit is CHCDFV001. And I've got another person who's going to play the role of the client, and in this case, it will be the client Oliver. So this is task 3 of this unit. I just want to do my ID. So I'm introducing myself as an enrolled learner with HADA. So my name is Vicky Hannah and I am studying, I'm doing Cert 4 in Community Services, and I'm doing the unit CHC DFV001. And this is a role play part 3, which is actually about Oliver, and I'm going to play the role as a counsellor. And I will just introduce now the person who's going to be playing the role as Oliver. So, Oliver, would you like to come into the office? Lovely to see you again.
Thanks for having me in, Michelle.
Yeah, how are you, Oliver?
I'm all right. I'm a bit worried about coming to these sessions. I think Max is maybe watching me. He sometimes does that, so I'm a bit worried that he's going to come down and cause a scene.
Okay, all right. Well, your safety is important. Let me just go over briefly. At First Access, we've got a lot of policies and procedures around keeping you safe, everyone in the building safe. I want to let you know that we know how to manage sometimes some complex or difficult behaviours. I want you to feel safe and be able to access the supports, and there's other ways we can do that. I can certainly put our things behind the scenes in place to take care of that. But this is about your safety plan, Oliver. And I want to let you know that every time you work with me, that everything you say is private and confidential. It's your well-being and the well-being of others. If you're at risk of harm to yourself or to others, or others are threatening to harm you, then I would report that up to my line manager and we would put our process in place. I want to let you know that's something that at First Access that we know what to do in circumstances like that, and it should not be a barrier for you. But we will take some considerations. However, you would like to do this, I can do some follow-up ones. We can do it off. Not face to face, if you like. We could go Zoom or Teams. We could do some FaceTime rather than physically come in. I want you to feel comfortable while you're accessing our supports, and make sure that I can give you, when you're not here, some additional supports. Before you leave, just remind me. I've just got some brochures. I've got a great one here on emergency accommodation if ever you are at risk. And I've got another one here that comes from legal aid around that. And specifically, it's an advice hotline. What are your legal rights around that as well? And we will put into place some steps. So we do have very skilled workers to be able to manage that, and I will take care of that side of things for you, so that if you are coming into the office, how to look after you, the safety, to give you that peace of mind as well, and for me also to meet my duty of care with the team that I lead here. Does that sound okay?
It does, and that's a bit of a relief. I think I'd be in some trouble if Max heard what we spoke about here. So it
Absolutely. I
very much.
want to reassure you, everything you say here is private and confidential.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I can see that you are a bit anxious about it. Why don't you tell me what's been happening for you, Oliver?
Well, from our last session, you'll remember that I met Max a while ago, and he's a big, tough, burly bloke that it can be quite scary. We've been seeing each other for a fair few months now, but he never seems to really treat me right when we're out in public. He's always making fun of me in front of his friends and being quite negative towards me, and he puts me down a lot too.
What's happening for you when that's going on? What does that feel like?
I don't feel very good. It's not good for my self confidence. I just sometimes I just want to want to leave the situation, but I just know that he'll make more fun of me, and he has threatened that he'll beat me up on some occasions if I did ever run away from him.
Okay, all right. So would you say that things have been increasingly becoming, more aggressive?
I think it stayed the same. There's some aggression there, but it's mainly words, just very hurtful words and
Yeah.
threat.
Well, it is still a form of abuse, Oliver. It isn't always the physical and can be hard to decide am I taking that, am I too sensitive, or is that my own stuff? And that it brings up old things for us. It can do. Um, what do you do when this is happening? Do you have other people around you can talk to, Oliver?
No, I don't really have anyone. I lost my mum to drugs and alcohol, and she was sort of my only support, and I've been alone since then. Max is sort of my only real friend, if you could call him a friend.
Yeah. And do you miss that connection with other people, Oliver?
I don't know. It's been so long now, so I'm unsure of it all. It's sort of strange. I haven't really thought about it.
Okay. Well, what would
Sort
it
of,
be like if you had some other supports that you could go to and share some interests with, different to Max, but what would that feel like, I wonder, for you?
I think it'll open up my world a lot more and make things a lot easier. The only really person I speak to is Max, so he's the only one that sort of, and I don't know how much of what he says is true or genuine. So I think it would be good to be comfortable and have people around me that I can trust and talk to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we could perhaps explore some of that. Would it be of interest, say, if I let you know about some groups? I know in our last session you spoke about you liked art and that you used to have those connections. Is there anything around you locally? Have you explored your area?
No, I haven't really. All my time and attention sort of just gone into my part-time job and to Max. I haven't really looked outside. I always get worried that Max will see what I'm doing and come after me for it.
Yeah, this sounds unsafe for you with Max. Have you thought about what would you do if it does escalate? What would be your plan, your next steps there, Oliver?
I haven't really thought about it at all. I was hoping
Okay.
that First Access might be able
Yeah.
to help with some of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, we can. What I want to do is this one particular brochure has all of the free call 24/7 numbers. It's the 1-800 respect line. There's also of course, always 000 if you ever feel that you are threatened at any time. And there's emergency accommodation. It doesn't mean you have to leave where you are, but it can give you some respite. We also have a hotline number here at First Access, which is 24/7. Of course, during operating hours, 9 till 5, Monday to Friday, you can call our office and ask to speak with me. But you can also call these 6 other numbers that are specifically for people who might be needing some quicker response as well. So there's 000. You might just want to talk to someone on the phone. There's some good chat ones that Beyond Blue have as well, so that you don't feel isolated and alone in that space. Would this would these numbers be helpful for you, Oliver, to maybe
I,
just keep safely?
I think they will. Yes, if I can hide them from Max, I think they will be handy
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah, very
I can,
important. So, all right then. So, there you are,
thank
Oliver.
you. Thank
Yeah, so keep that in your wallet, tuck that away. There's some really good apps as well. One particular place, Eat on Place, for people who may be experiencing what you're explaining, which is domestic family violence. Don't have to be living in the same residence for it to be support for you, you can make a call. And on that app, you can ask for information and reach out. And it's quite safe because even if you're on that app, you can quickly get out of that app and it doesn't keep any of your information. So even if someone did pick up your phone, there's nothing there that would say what you were looking into as well.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that'll be very good. Yeah, because I don't know. I've never seen Max do it, but I don't know if he would go through my phone while I'm asleep. So
Yeah. Okay,
that's
then. All right. And how stable is your accommodation at the moment? Last time you mentioned that you just signed a new lease where you are and you're living on your own. So you still do have your own place and that are you happy in your place where you're living?
I am. I've turned it in. I've got all my books and all my DVDs here, so I've turned it into a bit of my own. It's still a bit of a mess. I'm not a very tidy person, but
Okay.
yeah, it's good. It's my own space. I feel quite free there. Max doesn't come around too often just because it's too small, he said. So,
Okay. All right. Well, that could actually be part of your safety plan anyway.
yeah.
So do most of these incidents happen for you out in public with Max?
They do happen a lot out in public when we go out with his friends or stuff like that. And at his house when he has me over at his house. He's normally, if we're alone, he's normally quite nice and sweet. But if he has friends over, it's all just very uncomfortable for me.
Mm, mm. And is there any remorse at all from him after this?
He never mentions anything afterwards.
Okay, all right. What do you know about domestic family violence, Oliver? Have you ever had any other experience or been exposed to this?
There was mum and dad, but I would think I was too young to really realize what was going on. Then I thought a lot of it was normal, and I always thought that uh, domestic violence was physical. I didn't understand that it didn't have to
Yeah.
be physical.
Yeah. Look, we actually have a counsellor that we talked about last time. I'm here to be your support person, and I do more of the general counselling. But when we spoke last time, I guess, we spoke about your mum and losing your mum and how close you were. And even though it was a difficult childhood, that connection had been there. But you also shared with me that there was a lot of complicated grief around there. There's still a bit of anger. And so, what I've done with your consent is I have been able to get you a spot for the grief and loss counselling. It is here at First Access, so it's still coming in, knowing that we're going to make sure that you're okay. If you do feel that you've followed, you've got our hotline now. I've given you that, and that can be an SMS, and we can all step into action and support you when you arrive. And then also to make sure we're keeping an eye out once you are inside. If there is any problem, then we will deal with that as well. We'll step in. But I would like you to be able to talk to our counsellor. Our counsellor's name is Blake, and he's very, very good around grief and loss. He works with a lot of males and LGBTIQA plus community, and I think it'll be a good fit for you, but I would like to do the referral. And then if you are comfortable, then of course that's for you and Blake to be able to make those ongoing appointments. I'll stay as your main worker. I'll keep going with your case for as long as you decide that we can. But I think there's some underlying stuff that you shared last time, and it may help you resolve some of the confidence and self-esteem issues that may be keeping you in this space where you are a little stuck with Max, unsure about what the next step might be as well. So I think going forward, that might be part of our plan. How does that sound?
That sounds good. Yes, I'd like to do a plenary on that. That
Okay.
sounds very good.
All right. Well, it's always hard, I know, talking about these things, and I want to acknowledge that you are still seeking help, and that I'm very confident that once you feel more comfortable and you can connect and get some different support. what you were asking for earlier about opening up that circle a little more of your friendship circle and support. I think that could make a difference. And we'd certainly like to be able to walk beside you while you do that. Have you got anything else you wanted to cover today?
No, that's about everything. It sounds like we've got a bit of a plan in place, so
Okay.
that's good. Thank you.
All right. So today, what we've done is I've given you some information about what to call when you're not here with us. I've covered that we will be able to oversee if there is any risk or if you have been followed or someone's coming around or hanging around when you're coming in. We can look at some options about not physically coming here, but still getting our support, and then also the referral. So before you leave, Oliver, could I just ask you, please? This is the form here on consent. I can't discuss anything that we discuss here without your permission. That's what that means. But here it actually asks you, I've written down that I'm going to send you over to Phoenix House, and I've found out that Blake has room for you. So you would just be giving me consent to send the referral over. It is up to you what you discuss with Blake, and that is private and confidential as well. Those conversations don't come back to me. So that is your relationship with him around whatever it is that you discuss. It is still here in the same building, but it's actually in the other door. Instead of coming right to my office, just look for the sign at reception, and Blake is located in the B section. If you follow that through, you'll see his sign. But I just need your written consent, if I
Yep.
can. That's
Yep.
great.
Here
Yeah,
we are. Here's my
yeah,
signature
wonderful.
and the date, and
Yeah, great. Thank you. And of course, we will still have our sessions. If you find that weekly is too much for us, would you like to, seeing Blake and seeing me, would you like to move ours to fortnightly now and see Blake as well?
yeah, that'll be good. That'll stop Max getting too suspicious and trying to follow up.
Yeah, and of course you're working through some of the grief and loss around your mum, which is a different conversation you can have with Max. Is that, yeah, that would be less threatening, I would imagine, but we don't know, and we should be aware of that, and that's why I'm developing your safety plan here. I'd like to still see you next week. You go ahead and make your appointment with Blake. He's waiting for your call. But I still would like to see you next week and make sure that what's happened in the last week, if you have had to call any of those numbers, and to just check that our safety plan is something that you're comfortable with and you've got everything you need before we move into our fortnightly.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good.
All right. Well, lovely to see you again, Oliver. I'm looking forward
Thank
to
you.
working with you and hearing how you go with Blake, who's excellent as well. So I'll see you next Saturday morning. We'll keep our sessions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
That's all right.
Over to you.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, that I was playing the client Oliver. I'm just come in to give Vicky some feedback from the client's perspective under my trainer and assessor eyes. And yeah, I think everything was awesome. There was information there that would help Oliver in the long run, and also a lot of outside information and contacts. Something like that could be quite tricky when someone's sort of afraid someone's watching over their shoulder all the time. A lot of the privacy issues around that, and I think Vicky handled that quite well for first access.
Okay, that's
No, I felt
great.
very comfortable being a client and felt very accepted in the situation.
Good. All right, wonderful. Thanks so much for that, Blake, for playing the role of Oliver. We did our role play in the timeline that we had with us, so that's great. So I'll just close off our recording part here and I'll move into for the other follow-up things that our learners need to do. So thank you.
Thank you.
So, welcome back. I just wanted to run through how do we prepare and plan for role plays. So we went through the first part of this. We're still on this particular unit, DFV001, so the code CHCDFV001. The actual simulated workplace environment that Blake and I set up, we did our background, we matched our rooms as if we were in the same space, we shifted our bodies so we were facing each other if you are doing your recording with somebody else as well. And then also we went through the scenarios. So I wanted to just walk you through what that is like when you go into your Accelerate Learner portal for this particular unit. It actually gives you the instructions. You can see here that there's 3 participants in this role play. So clients are Diane and Priyanka and Oliver. And it's actually followed by one more, which is a colleague in the workplace. That one's not a role play. That is actually an email that you're going to send out. So we're looking for 3 separate role play scenarios, one for Diane, one for Priyanka, and one for Oliver. So Blake, another trainer and assessor, who works on our team here at Hayter Institute, he played the role of client. Now, yes, some of these, it actually requires you to have an assessor there in real time. Very important. If it is that, you absolutely must have the assessor there because it's often group. But when it's one-on-one like this, if it says that to prepare for this role play, you must make sure that you have reviewed the instructions, policies and procedures, whether you can actually do this with a friend or a colleague or a family member, which many you can. However, they cannot be reading off a script. No, we're not assessing them, but it needs to be as simulated as we can, because if they're reading off a script, we can't get that engagement. And what are we assessing you on? I'm going to be showing you exactly what we are looking for as your assessor in your role play. It says that this role play needs to be done within 10 to 12 minutes. So it may be a 15-minute recording all up in total. Now, that will not mean that it gets sent back unsatisfactory, because I recognise that part of that is in your intro. So the intro that we used, if you remember, I did my ID. Now, if you're not comfortable doing ID, photo ID, we just need to know that it's you and not your cousin who's doing your role play for you, because it's your assessment. You can quote your Hayter student ID number, introduce yourself, and then introduce it the same way as what I did. Now, that took up 2 minutes in the beginning, and then it took up 2 more minutes at the end with Blake and my recording, which is at the beginning of this. So it might be a 15-minute recording all up, but 10 to 12 minutes is what it actually gives the instruction for. Follow the instructions. How do you prepare? You read through it. So it tells you to prepare for this role play task. You must first read the scenario and review the relevant policy and procedure documents provided. And we will know if you haven't read it, you haven't got the knowledge to be able to draw on what services and supports do First Access offer. And so First Access is your employer. Hypothetical, simulated, but very similar to what is out there in the industry. All your policies and procedures are in there. It gives the organisational chart. It says who's working there and what services you provide. So you're not flying blind in a role play, but you will if you haven't practiced, if you haven't gone in and done your preparation and planning. So as it comes through, it goes, you will play the role of Michelle Donahue. Now, if you don't identify as Michelle, then change the name of the worker. That is not what you're being assessed on. So in your intro, you can say, I'm meant to be playing the role as Michelle, but I'm going to refer to my own name when I come into the role play. That's fine. Just introduce that. Makes sense. But I am actually taking on the role of Michelle. And you are being assessed as Michelle, that you can change that that part of it, of course, to be comfortable, and know that that is not going to mark you down. And then another person, preferably another learner from your class. Why? Because you both might come together, do your recording together, and then someone will swap over and play Oliver the next time. So you can help each other out. It might be someone who has already done this unit and jumping in to play that role for you, or they want to get more practice with role plays. The more you do, the better you get. And it's about 40% of your qualification. We've just opened up Discord for you, your learner support officers. And when we come back to full screen, you'll see their email. The learner support officers can guide you, but all of our enrolled learners got the link, how to be part of Discord. You can go into the Discord app, and under the qualification, you might be doing Cert 4 Community Services, Cert 4 Mental Health, Cert 4 AOD, Cert 4 Youth Work. This unit is one of the core units, CHCDFV001. Everybody in every course is going to be doing this unit. So you can go in there and say, hey, I'm looking for one other person to play the role of Diane, Priyanka, and Oliver. Someone might go, look, I can give you 30 minutes. That's how long all up prep planning. Hi, how are you? Hit the button, record, to get that, 12-minute sort of video out, 15 if you top and tail it with your summary and debrief, which we want a summary as well. And so you can hook up that way as well. So do a separate recording for Oliver, a separate one for Priyanka, and a separate one for Diane. Okay, so you can get a Zoom, free Zoom. It gives you 40 minutes of recording time. Record it to your own device and then save that, and then that will convert over, depending on your system, into an MP4, and that's what we ask you to upload as well. Make sure that you have followed the instructions. So there's you've read it, reviewed it. You will apply those practices, policies, and procedures that you've read in the first access side. Ensure that the environment is safe for you and your clients and your colleagues. So set that scene, get a virtual background in your Zoom, practice that. This is preparation and planning. And then before you begin the role play, complete the counselling plan, which is in the first access site. Here it says it's SDSCT3 and counselling plan. So it's based on the information you already have from your client. It's already pre-filled, Oliver, because this was the second session that Oliver came in. You'll hear in that role play I referred back to last time we met, Oliver, we talked about this. So there was a bit of background you had. You'd already engaged, but regardless, if you have seen a client 100 times, each and every time we must reinforce the privacy confidentiality disclaimer in there briefly, but we must do that. Because things could change and we need Oliver to decide how much. Clearly, Oliver is hesitant and there's a lot of other reasons why. So we do that to make sure we still have that consent, and that consent is current to move forward. You'll complete some of the template during the role play as well. You saw me making notes. You might even say, look, I'm just going to make some notes here and add up. I do mine at the end, but by all means, refer to your notes. Now, I do tend to go a little old school, but I also want to let you know that on some of mine, I might just take a snip and have that beside me if you're more digitally driven. So just in that sense, I just take a snip in my Accelerate, and I'll have my phone beside me of what it actually says. So it says that during the role play, and I had that with me just to make sure I hit those marks. So it's got, during the role play, your assessor will be looking to see that you demonstrate the following. This is what we're going to mark you on in the role play, so you don't get too bogged down Provide a safe environment. We did that. We set the scene. It was a private area. Investigate the client needs, feelings, and concerns in a sensitive manner. So keep your tone calm and regulated, even if they are heightened or they are flat. We are in a regulated space. These are your micro skills we're assessing you on. Ask appropriate questions. Make sure that you've read before a little bit how you're going to approach this. Assess the client's information regarding their immediate safety needs. So I asked, are you feeling safe at the moment, Oliver? Who would you call? And then I gave Oliver some resources, and that's part of it. So even if you haven't got the resources, then simulate that you are working with resources. So I'm a sector worker. Every trainer at HADA is a sector worker. So we know how valuable those resources are. We're preparing you to be a sector worker or improve your skills and qualifications if you already are. So it must mirror what would be happening in the workplace as well. Actively listen. Your non-verbal cues. Your client must do a fair bit of that talking. We ask open-ended questions, the who, what, how, when, where, and why. Because I've done a risk assessment on Oliver in the scenario, I also asked a few closed questions, yes, no's. Consent is yes or no. Referral is a yes or a no. There are times for that, rather than, oh, what would it feel like if I got you a referral somewhere? Like we are professionals and we need to make sure that they understand we've got that done in place and prepared. How would you like to be that person in the chair and cared for? That's why I asked Blake to come back in as himself, of course, and talk about how comfortable that felt for him as well. I want your client to do a summary. That's some peer review. If you're doing it with a classmate, you're helping each other. The more role plays and practitioner skills you do, the better you will be. Except for our AOD learners, they don't go on work placement, but you'll be ready for work placement and have a sense of confidence as well. It removes that theory side where we're learning in class, where we're edging around it, and brings it into reality, which is why HADA only have current sector workers who are here teaching the qualification that they hold, and for you to know what it is actually like out there in the workforce as well. So you're assessing their information, and then you're going to inform the client about external support options. So Blake works externally in the sector. I work in the sector as well with HADA. Any of your assessors and trainers, if you haven't got them in an assessor-led role play, then in your classes, they are helping and coaching you with your assessments. If you are doing this unit, CHCDFV001, you're going to talk about your assessments in live classes. So I encourage you to go to live classes, and some live classes, depending on the trainer and the class, you do this in collaboration. You may actually go ahead and say, well, look, I'm ready. If we've got a few people who want to do a role play, or someone's ready to do a role play, we can actually do that in real time, and we'll make that part of our class. Those who go to class get to see it and go, oh, great, I know what to do now. That was really helpful. And that's the feedback that we're getting. So those aren't being recorded to go out to the full HADA learner community. They are being done in real time in classes. You will already have a recording of the key learning and a walk around the assessments, what we're looking for. And classes are 6 till 9 p.m. They're interactive. There's lots of room there to ask questions of your trainer. You have them there. There's lots of opportunity for you to engage other learners and say, hey, I'm looking for someone. You can share that information in chat. You'll go into breakout rooms. You'll do some mock role plays together. If someone's ready and says, I'm good to go, I'll do a role play, away we go. And the assessor will send you the evidence to upload into your porthole. So that's based on every trainer and every class. So you need to check in with your trainer how that works. But classes are 6 to 9 p.m. and they are assessment focused. So I encourage you to follow your assessment tasks in do task 1, task 2, then move to task 3, and maybe 3 is all you've got. Maybe 2 is all you've got, but maybe 4 there are, and do not move on from that unit until you have completed your role plays. Now, we often work with 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. You need to start your assessments at the beginning. And your classes are designed to help you progress with your assessments. If you are doing a Cert 4, the time that you need each week to do that is at least 7 hours for your study, maybe 10 to 12. And then if you're doing a diploma level, and this unit does sit in diploma level as well, then you need, it can be 15 to 20 hours a week. Of course, there's 15 units in a Cert 4, and there are 15 units to complete, there's 15 units. I think there's only 1 or 2 that don't have role plays. But in a diploma, there's 21 units and there's about 21 role plays to do. And some of them have, like this one, 3 parts in them. So get good at this, enjoy this, know that this is your practitioner skill. Your clients deserve to be able to work with someone who is skilled. This qualification is recognised nationally, and the standards are high as far as the support that we have in our learner community, our trainers, all sector workers. So you are getting the absolute best of what the community scope can bring to you by studying with HADA. And know that we have learner support officers to help you with basic questions as well. Now, we know that for some people you cannot come to classes in real time because you've got competing priorities. That's why we're doing these short resources. I'm just demonstrating this unit, but how we do our role plays is pretty much the same. You go in, you review it, you practice it, go to Discord and find someone or get a colleague or family friend. Know that they have to come into that space as the client. Okay. It must be a person who is old enough and mature enough to call for that. So that will be someone 18 years and over. Okay, prepare them. That's your role, to prepare them and coach them to be ready to play the role of client. If you're doing that with a peer from class, they already have access to this. They need it because they may want someone to do that for them. So they'll step into that space for you. You'll need to complete the counselling framework. It's part of your assessment. You've got your learner's guide for this, which coaches you in that, and some supporting videos as well. So all of the learner resources are there for you. You need to read them and spend your time each week going through and preparing for your studies and attempt your assessments. If you get a role play come back to you and it says, this was really good, but you missed your ID, but we might accept that as part 2, then 2 role plays will be done. You may be able to keep the first one because you've got a lot of that work in there, but it may come back to you and it says, look, I need to see the introduction and I want you to summarize how you, what you thought of that Oliver's situation and what you would like to put in place next for Oliver. The same as what we would do in any case management and case sharing that we would do in the workplace. So I hope you found that helpful. This is what we are doing. So here it's got the link when you open up. Task 3, role play participant instructions. You need to make sure that your participants have that. Like I said, I am a little old school. So before I jumped in, I print mine out if that's what it was. So I let Blake decide which role he wanted to do, but it could be in any of them. And that is my preparation and planning today. I'll just show you. So my prep for that was, I just got my, I'll just jump out of here and we'll go back to our larger screen. I just printed it off and then I highlighted the absolute must-dos. I just had that there with me and I circled back to it as if I was working on his counselling plan. And I think we've covered a bit today. So know that there is an email as well. There's additional document that's asking of you for this assessment. You need to be able to send an email out to colleagues and advise them, because that's part of your duty of care. It is an incident, and you would need to follow your protocol and let your colleagues and peers know that you are working with a client and they do normally come in on a certain day and time. And to give a brief description about that person, you've captured all of that information in your session, and that we would follow our protocol. So if you're stuck on any part of your assessments, you can contact LSO at hayderinstitute.edu.au. Just briefly, I can't get into First Access. I don't know how to find their templates and things like that, just the basic things. In class, you can ask the questions about doing the assessment. And then, of course, from time to time, if LSO, our learner support officers, cannot assist you, they will send that back to trainers who are rostered on. Oftentimes it's me, but it might be one of the other trainers, and we will email you back. Know that if you have a question and it's about your learner portal, please be in front of your device and your LSO officer will work with you. If you're emailing, a lot of learners will email me and say, hey, Vicky, I hope I'm talking to the right person. It might be like, oh, I'm working on CHCDFV001. And it's just this email, like I submitted it and it came back. And I'm not really sure about the feedback, what it means. I might send you an example of what might need to be in the email if you are stuck and it's come back and you're looking for guidance. If the feedback you've got is enough, then do your second attempt. You get 3 attempts to do your assessments, and that flags for us if you're at your 3rd attempt and that is still needing to just a little bit more. That flags for us to open up more attempts, but it also means you need to talk to a trainer. Don't wait for someone to contact you. Be proactive in that space and reach out and ask for assistance. Start with the LSO because they are on Monday to Friday till 7 p.m. at night. And then if they cannot assist you, because it's in your learner's guide, that information, it's guided you already, they will ask for a trainer and assessor. Can you please help here? I like to email you. I like to give you some examples, but I will definitely clarify and say, this is an example only. Please do in your own words, because it's your assessment, not mine. I'm giving you some guidance and you can go, oh, I get it. I can see now what was there. You just might be more of a hands-on, need that little bit of extra, but you will expect that if you do go to live classes that your trainer will assist you with that. So that's the end of this resource. It's a long one because we've covered 1, the role play, and 2, how to follow the bouncing ball from start to finish, the background work you've got to do, how to get your submission right, the timing, setting up the scene around it as well. So for in here, I'm just going to pop into our chat. I just want to send out a group message. So Vicky at Hayder Institute. Okay, so on the screen right now, make sure my spelling is right, because there are 2 Vickies in our system, I think still. Okay, so you can send an email, but I'm the second person down. LSO, if you send an email and I don't get back to you for 3 or 4 days, know that I get over 150 emails every day. There are lots of things, not always learners, but there's a bit of a queue. And then I may be training or I may be working in another area. So emails directly to a trainer will not give you an instant reply. We do not encourage emails directly to your trainer. In fact, we have auto reply and redirect you again back to our learner support officers. Back on the screen. Any of the students, sorry, in my classes know that I do work full time. So they will contact me directly. So, of course, if you are studying Diploma of Youth Work, Cert 4 in Youth Work, or Diploma of Community Services, then you already know that you can contact me directly. The reason I popped it in there for this recording is to let you know that as a program manager, if there's some feedback that I can share with the trainers to improve that class experience, we want you to know that you have access to us as well. I don't want any frustration for you with delays. I will certainly send it back up or let you know, please go to LSO for that. So I want you to think about who would you go to, the same as what we would with our clients. So I just want to say thank you for your time. This is going to go into your resources. Remember that phone a friend is Discord, jump in there, say what unit code it is and your task number. Once a month, I do information sessions on role play. On the 4:30, you get an invitation to that. We have excellent attendance there, and it's amazing the frequently asked questions because it's very representative. So know that we are hearing you, and we want to make the experience as much fun as we can. We know that role plays can be a challenge for lots of reasons, but it's compulsory unless you're already a sector worker. And then that's an RPL application, which you do through our LSO team anyway. So working in the sector is not enough. There is actually a formal process that you already hold those skills. Otherwise, jump in and do them. It's part of your qualification, and we absolutely require it, and we require it to the standard that would be industry simulated, sector accepted. Okay, so have fun, ask questions, jump in, do the background work, really navigate that space in First Access, or if you're doing early childhood or individual support, it might be Banksia Care or Lily. They're two different organisations because they're specific around that particular sector. But youth work, AOD, mental health and community services are all the community scope, and we use First Access in there. All right, so thank you so much. Have fun with your role plays. The more you do, the better you get. Okay, amazing. Thanks, everyone.